Still works for him. But yeah, used to take care of all the kids.
Okay, we're ready to rock.
We're ready to rock.
Yep.
Feels like it's been a while since we've been.
Yeah, it's been over 2 months.
I know. Casey's like, I'm totally out of content.
I was like, I could start recycling. But...
We gotta do it before I leave.
We are rolling though. So.
Yeah, it's good to go.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, it has been a while, Kristan. It's been a long summer.
It's been a really long summer.
A lot going on, but it's good to be back, hanging out and talking about things that matter in the real estate market. And we've got a lot of different subjects that I think we need to cover today. A lot of things that impact real estate agents' ability to make a living and to move their listings and buyers. And I think where I want to start it is we have been talking a lot in meetings about the listing success rate here in Arizona. And, people may not know, but as far back as 16 years, we have not had a listing success rate as low as what it is now. And if there's anything I've learned from you over the years, it is that you think like a mega agent. And I think today, as we think about these subjects, I want you to take us into the mind of a mega agent and your thought process. Like when you see something like the listing success rate being as low as it is, like what is the thought process that you go through to start making connections that ultimately become tactics that your team use to go take more business? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like, because not every agent thinks the same. And you and I talk all the time. There's something that sets apart top agents from everyone else, the best and the rest. And so, I really want to just get a peek behind the curtain of how you think through those things. So let's start in listing success rate. Like when you saw that number and that statistic, that it had not been that low in 16 years, like where did you go in your thinking?
So the first thing I thought about was, well, why is that? So what it caused me to do is really dig into the numbers, because the numbers don't lie. There's always the path is in the math and the numbers don't lie. So I really took a deep dive and wanted to take a look at what's really going on and why is it that only 59% of all the listings are actually getting across through the closing table. And because if you can figure out what the problem is, then you can create a proven plan around that solution. Because what I found with most sellers is they want to know why that's happening. First of all, I think most sellers would be shocked to find out that only 59% were actually...
beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Right. And then, if I'm sitting there with the seller and I know that to be true, then the question is why, and then what plan can I create as a mega agent to eliminate as much friction as possible and get it actually across the finish line, if that's indeed what their goal would be. Like if they really do need to sell now. The summer in Arizona is very seasonal, and actually it's very seasonal in Alaska too. Because for us it's the heat and we're leaving, and in Alaska it's like, oh, it's the sun, we want to be outside, and so people aren't really thinking about real estate. So I really then took a deeper dive into why could that be, and started looking at statistics, and what I found was, number one, a lot of sellers I don't think know that to begin with. And if they did know that, what caused it? And when you look at causation, and Redfin put out a report, and it said in the last 3 months, 70% of all the listings that actually pended fell out because of inspections.
Because of inspections, yeah.
So
much when you showed me that, it was so much higher than I would have expected.
And we know it to be true anecdotally in the office because, all the problem files come to me. And so when you see a pattern, what we definitely saw is there's just a pattern of inspection issues. Of course, they're coming up way late into the transaction after you've already agreed on price, and the seller's like, well, gosh, if I had known that, I might have done X, Y, or Z. And you really also have this gap between what sellers think and buyers think, and so all of a sudden it becomes this tug of war, and not a very friendly environment for everyone to come away feeling good about the sale. And they also, it creates a lot of stress, not only in the buyers and sellers, but in the agents who are having to deal with this.
Yep. And then you got a very confrontational situation for the rest of the escrow.
Right. It does. It sets up a lot of confrontation, and also it sets up confrontation between the agents, because a lot of times agents are trying to throw their ego around, and they're actually causing more problems because they want it done a certain way, which may not be what the sellers really want or the buyers really want. So number one, I think a lot of that could be avoided, because also when sellers talk about how much stress in the transaction there is, 30% of every transaction stress that a seller feels is caused by two things: the negotiation and the inspection.
Yeah.
So if we know that that causes a significant amount of stress in sellers, and we know that 70% of the transactions that do fall out are falling out because of it, then as a mega agent, I think, what could we create upfront in advance to solve that problem?
Exactly.
And that's really what sellers are looking for us as agents to do, is solve their problems. But here's the thing, whenever most agents are sitting down with them right now, they don't even know that there's a problem to be solved. All they know is they feel like the market is slow.
Yep.
It feels like we have listings and nothing's selling. So there's two issues. One, why is that? Why is nothing selling? And number two, once it does get under contract, why is it not getting all the way to closing? So in my opinion, what I think through is, I don't know about you, but I really like proven plans. Like when I buy something, I want a story behind it to show, like, well, you really can look 10 years younger in 30 days by putting this cream on your face. It's probably not true, but I want a proven plan where somebody can show me that it actually works. Yeah. And so if you think about it, how much does a home inspection cost up front if you want to do one in advance?
A few $100.
A few $100, right? And what that allows the seller to do is figure out what issues they do have, and could there be more issues that are found out from another inspector? Of course, but you're going to find the big things. Once they understand that, then they can do a couple of different things. They can choose to get those repairs made ahead of time, on their timing, instead of being rushed during the transaction when it's already stressful. Yeah. And they also can decide what their price is going to look like given these repairs. They also can decide if they want to put a home warranty on the property, which also gives buyers comfortability in purchasing their home. Yeah. So by offering that kind of plan to the seller, so if I'm sitting down with you and I said, would it surprise you, David, to find out that only 59% of all listings that go on the market are actually going to closing? Would that surprise you?
Only 59%?
Right.
Yeah, that would.
If I could show you a plan so that your success rate could be higher, and it would cost you a few $100 up front and eliminate a lot of stress in the transaction, is that a proven plan that you'd like to see?
Yeah, of course.
That's how simple this really is. Yeah. And the truth is that what we're showing, what we're talking about, the 59%, we have a graphic from the Cromford report to show it. Same thing from Redfin about why the transactions are falling out. Same thing from, I think it's Image Creator, or you'll think of the name of it, that showed us that the stress level for the seller is caused by two things. Yeah. So if you can educate the seller in maybe 15 minutes and set them up for success, the chances that they're going to have a higher success rate is immediately increased.
Well, you're speaking to something that's, I think of two things, Kristan, is like, there's just this like thing about human behavior. None of us like surprises. We don't like not knowing what's behind the corner, right? Like, it's why we don't like walking down a dark hallway, because something could jump out. And I think that the most talented of agents, they get in front of that, and they know this is going to come up. So rather than avoiding it, they bring that to they surface that, right? And so in that way, you're eliminating surprise, which is that's what all of us want. If I'm a seller, that's what I want.
Of course.
Otherwise, it feels like a hidden fee. It feels like it feels like a loss.
It feels like every step in the transaction, something's just rearing its ugly head.
Yeah, it's just like, what next?
Why didn't you tell me about this up front?
Instead of them feeling like, oh, my agent prepared me for what was going to come next, I have to find out what happens next. Right? And then it heightens the stress. And then the other thing is, it's this idea that you've talked about all the time with our people. I know it because I've sat in these classes. It's showing versus telling, right? We do have these graphs.
Right.
Go call them out of BrokerBot. Like, it's already right there. The information's there for you. The tool is there for you. Now just take 10 seconds and print it off and bring it to the presentation, because people need that visual. I forget what the percentage of people who are visual learners, but I think there's more visual learners than any other
There's a
kind,
lot.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just like take these things, like, don't overcomplicate it.
Don't overcomplicate it. Absolutely. And I think that what it also does for you is it sets you apart from other agents, because if I'm the seller and I'm going to be paying you a large amount of money to sell my home, I want to have that confidence and trust in you. So not only does this inform the seller so that they can make a great decision and eliminate a lot of stress, but it also builds a lot of trust in the relationship. And that's what we're after as well, because we want to get more business from you, Mr. Seller. And if it's a good transaction that you feel good about, you're going to refer our company. And so and so for me, I kind of went down, as you know, I go down these really deep dives as to what is going on. And I first saw it in our own numbers, that our fallout rate was increasing. And then when I saw the Cromford numbers, I'm like, okay, this is solvable. And here's the thing, David, that shocked me is not only do most sellers not know that statistic, most agents don't either. And so we can all feel it, but until you take a dive into the numbers and understand why it's happening, then you can actually solve the problem, and you can solve it up front.
And it's too easy just to hear other agents say something and then just parrot that, instead of actually investigating and understanding what's really happening under the surface.
Yeah, and I take responsibility to take those deep dives, because I want our people to be armed with great information to help people make good decisions. And I think anytime you can help them make a good decision up on the front end, that will save them time, money, and stress, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
So that's how I think about it.
Well, so if only 59% of listings are selling, that means that something's happening on the buyer side of the equation too, right? We've talked about what's happening with sellers and with agents not preparing sellers appropriately and showing them. What's happening on the buying side of the business right now?
Yeah. Well, it's actually why only 59% are selling. It's really twofold. One, I don't know that agents are fully prepared to explain to sellers what's going on in the market right now in order to position themselves appropriately. I've said this before, but you're in a beauty contest and a pricing war at the same time. So
if that's the first time someone's heard that, what does that mean?
It just means you have to have the prettiest house in the neighborhood and at the best price.
Okay.
Right? And if you don't, it's going to sit on the market. And what's interesting is oftentimes if you price it just a little bit below the market, go look at the actives that you're actually competing against and price it just below. Chances are you'll probably end up getting multiple offers and more than you would have if you had priced it a little higher. So I think that's a really good strategy, especially when there seems to be a lot of homes that aren't moving, is if you go look at 4 or 5 of active listings that you're competing with that are very similar, you're going to know real quick whether or not you are the prettiest home, and whether or not you have the right price. So I think that's part of it. Okay. The second piece of the equation is you have buyers that actually think that by waiting, they're afraid to come off the fence. They are making application for mortgages because we watch the purchase application rate on a weekly basis. So it's not that they're not getting prepared, they're just not executing and actually buying a home.
And refresh my memory, sorry to cut you off, refresh my memory. Is it at the same level as 2025? Because 2025, I mean, purchase applications were going gangbusters.
So year over year, purchase applications are actually higher in 2026.
Interesting.
So more people are getting ready, but they're just not pulling the trigger. Most buyers think if they do nothing, that, they haven't lost anything, right? So they're waiting for interest rates to come down. Well, how well has that been a decision over the last 90 days?
It's not a good decision.
Not a good decision.
And even in the last 7 days,
it's gone up some more.
Yeah.
So we all know that most companies will do a no-cost refinance if rates come down. But most people think, I just want to wait till it's a half a point or a full point lower. and they don't understand the cost of waiting. There really is a cost of waiting. And the cost of waiting is that over time, on average, homes go up at a certain rate. And in the US, on average, they go up at 4% per year. If you look at the historical average since 1942. Since that time, there's only been 2 times in history that prices have not gone up. One is the Great Depression, Great Recession, Great Depression, in 2008.
Yep.
And the other one was like in the 60s. For 1 year, it went backwards 1%. So if you look at that trend line over time, and we always say this, David, if you could go buy your parents' house that you grew up in today for the same amount that they bought it for, would you?
100%.
Right, because
$110,000.
Yeah, because over time there's appreciation. In Arizona, over time the appreciation rate is even higher. It's at 5%.
5% on average.
On average.
Versus the 4% national average.
Right. And during certain time frames, it's been really high, like 12.5 over like a 5-year period. But if you just look historically, it's 5%. So if we know that the average home in Arizona is going up at 5% per year on average over time, by waiting, you're losing 5% per year to try to gain 1% on your loan. Does that sound like a good decision?
No.
When you actually do the math, and then you add in the tax savings that you have, because you get to write off your real estate taxes, you get to write off your interest, in addition to the equity, it's an astronomical number. It's like $14,000 a year you're losing by not taking action on a $350,000 house in Arizona.
So again, okay, it's taking something at face value versus going under the surface and investigating and going, oh, it's not just interest rate we're talking about here. There is a cost of waiting that goes much deeper than this. And as agents, our fiduciary responsibility is to know and understand and interpret this for our buyers.
Right.
And that's what's not happening.
Right.
At the rate that it should be happening.
And we have the graphs for that too, that you can actually show, because it's true. And over time, other than that one period in 2008 through 2012, the average sales price of a home continues to go up. And there's never been a time in history that if you owned a home at least 8 years that you ever went backwards, even during the Great Recession.
Yeah.
So if you go back and look at what the average sales price was during the Great Recession right before it cratered, and you could buy that house today for that same amount, given what it would sell for today, you would buy it all day long.
Yeah. And so it really is just this, like, it's a simple concept that if you slow down and you use the tools available to you, right? Access has this with our partners at Envoy. We have the calculator where this can be, you can run this on exact scenarios. Go run this for every single buyer in your pipeline.
Yes.
And just help them, hey, I just want to come from value today, come from contribution, and share what waiting looks like in your exact scenario.
Right.
And so it's another tool, another item of value that if we would just take it out of the toolbox, you'd see more results, right?
It's so simple. That calculator is so simple to use, and it's powerful. It really is. And I think we owe it, like you said, we owe it to buyers to help them understand, that there is a cost to waiting, because most people think that I'm not losing anything if I just don't take action. I'm okay. Yeah. It's just not true.
Have we, I'm going off here a little bit because I can't remember if we already got the cost of waiting, like the graphs loaded into BrokerBot or not. If we haven't, we should.
We should. I would think, we presented them a lot over the last month.
We have. So I think what we're gonna do, because hey, we're always trying to get better, is I think we're just gonna make the cost of waiting toolkit, so that if someone just types in cost of waiting, they can just pull all these graphs, right? Already compliant, everything.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely get that done. But yeah, it's like through wars and famines and pandemics and all the
guerrilla tariffs.
So it's a pretty safe bet.
9/11, like all of those things happened, And yet the average sales price of a home still continued to go up over time, even with all those things happening.
Exactly. So
the best investment and honestly, the best hedge against inflation is to own real estate.
So I sit here sometimes when we're talking and I go like, all right, we talk about this all the time. So it's like, it's almost just like, why are people not implementing this? Like, why are they not taking action on this? But then I try and step back and go, okay, an agent has 4,864 things that they're doing every single day. And these things take time. And a lot of them are solopreneurs, right? They're running these businesses by themselves. Like, what is taking up so much time from agents right now that it's moving their attention away? It's causing them not to do these things and instead do other things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because I actually asked that question of my own team. Like, right now, what's the one thing that is like the biggest time suck in your business that takes an incredible amount of time that you wish there was an easy solution for?
What did they say?
I was fascinated, actually. What they said was, we're not used to a home being on the market 80, 90 days. So think about that, David. Most people, if you haven't been in real estate more than 7 or 8 years, to me, 80 days is very normal. 180 is normal. Yeah. But if you haven't had to, actually communicate with a seller over a long period of time, you don't realize that putting those reports together every week, helping the seller understand what's going on in the market, is very, very time consuming. Yeah. So that's exactly.
You get into this like pattern of like, you might be doing those once or twice and then you're under contract.
Or maybe not having to do them at all. And now you're having to do them every week.
Yeah.
And if you have more than one listing, it can take an entire day just to prepare all the reports, get them to the sellers, and have the conversation. And so we thought about that. And we go, you know what? Because I always go into, well, what do we have a tool to help agents eliminate that time suck, right? And we do. We do. We do. And it's our AI broker bot. We were able to give it the workflow. Yep. Chronologically, here's what I want you to do, and then write the prompt for it. So for the agents, all they have to do is type in the prompt, right? And it will give them, literally, David, within 60 seconds, an incredibly beautiful seller report that you would be very, very, that's better than anything you could have put together probably over 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so rather than dinking around on Canva and all that stuff and pulling statistics and getting it wrong and all this stuff, it will do it. And so it's creating like very tangible, tactical time results back for you in your business.
And it's not only that, David. We actually had an agent, as soon as I showed them this, they did it and they sent it to their seller. And what's fascinating about it is it almost helps the seller understand what they need to do without you having to say, we need a $50,000 price reduction. And that's exactly what happened. He presented the information to the seller and they're like, I guess we need to reduce the price. They did. And an agent wanted to show the property, and the seller's agent said, hey, you can come during this open house because that's when we're going to be prepared to show it. And they came to the open house. There were other buyers there in the property. Now it had the $50,000 price reduction. And the buyers got excited and wrote the offer and penned it that weekend.
That's awesome.
So just by using that tool, it took them 2 minutes.
Yep.
It convinced the seller of what they knew they probably needed to do anyway.
Okay, so I'm an Access agent listening to this right now. Let's step back because I want to make sure we didn't actually miss the prompt, the workflow.
Right.
Okay, so I'm here, Kristan. I have like five listings, not a lot, but a lot for me. Okay, 5 listings. They're all sitting on the market, and I need to do these seller reports. So what do I do again?
You just go into BrokerBot and the workflow is already in there, and you just tell BrokerBot that you want a seller report, which property, tell it to go and find all the information on the MLS. You tell it what the feedback has been. Literally, you're speaking to it. You can either text it, email it, or call it.
Yeah.
And it will produce that report within 60 seconds.
Yeah. So it's immediately drastically reducing just by talking to this tool. You can do it on the go.
Maybe you get it and maybe you want to tweak something and you can say, hey, I'd like for you to add X, Y, or Z. I'd like for you to add Zillow, or I'm making it up. But the point is, it literally, even just refining it could maybe take you 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then we go to the other end, right? I'm a Jenny Adams. I'm a team that's carrying 50, 70, 100 listings at a time. Now, has that exponentially created leverage for you?
Oh, huge.
Right?
Huge.
So now you can just, boom, here's all the seller reports for the entire team, get it back to your agents, give them exactly what they're supposed to say, and take action, right?
Very much so. Yeah.
That's interesting. So that is the thing that was taking the most time, because 90 days, a 90-day communication cycle is very different than a 14-day.
And if you ask most sellers who get frustrated with their agent, their biggest frustration, it's communication. So we're also taking that frustration level away from the seller, because they are being communicated. A lot of times agents don't call them because they don't know what to say. Well, how about if you had a report that you could give them, say, hey, I just wanted to share this report with you. You could text it, you could email it, you could call them and tell them it's coming. That helps you understand what happened in the market this week.
When are your agents sending that on Mondays, or?
Most do.
Yeah.
After the weekend, after the showings, you can show how many additional listings came on in that price range. The feedback from the buyers who did show the property. There's a lot, and it doesn't take you very long to speak that into the prompt. Okay. And we've already pretty much done it for you. The only thing we can't do for you is tell it what the feedback was.
Yeah.
Other than that, we actually have the prompt that tells you exactly what to ask BrokerBot to spit it out.
Awesome.
Yeah. You asked something else that I thought was pretty interesting. You said, why don't people take action more with meeting with the seller to help them, or meeting with the buyer to help them understand the cost of waiting? And I actually asked a group of agents, why do you think that is? And their answer was not surprising to me, but it was one I hadn't thought of. And he said the reason that agents aren't taking action on this is because they don't even know. It's not that the seller doesn't know what's going on, but the agents really aren't aware of what's going on. But it's super clear when you look at our production reports and you see the fallout rate, you see the listing success rate going down, you see the average sales price going down. When you look at this, you're like, the numbers leave clues. And most agents are so busy creating a seller report that they don't take time to dive deep in the numbers. I mean, even if you got on the Cromford call once a week, it's 90 minutes long and there are so many slides. How do you figure out which ones are relevant that will tell the story to help the seller make the best decisions on pricing, to help the buyer? There's just a lot. And when you put all of that, and in 90 minutes, can you imagine how many slides are coming at the agents? Interpretation sometimes becomes hard. I've just done it for such a long time that I can see patterns pretty quickly. And so literally, I pulled 4 slides out. 4.
We just need these 4. Right?
Just these 4 to help you understand seller frustration. 70% of them are falling out because of home inspections, and only a 59% success rate. So what do we do about it?
Well, and I think that's the hack, that's the shortcut, that's the value of our company, right? Sometimes I think let's talk about market center value for a second. Agents do come to us. We've both had them in our office before and go like, well, what does the market center do for me? What does the brokerage do for me? We give you shortcuts like this. And here's the challenge, right? And I'll be very blatant here. Are you going to engage with it? And if we're going to put something in front of you, it's because we genuinely believe that it's going to impact your wallet.
Right.
Like, it's the thing you need right now to go put food on the table.
Right now.
Yes, right now. And so...
Because the next 30 days, we're getting more of the same.
And I think, like, you and I have had this conversation very frequently of late. We care about our agent success so much that our desire is we would we would almost pull them into what we're putting in front of them. Like almost just be just like the listing agent at the table. I'm gonna slide this right in front of you, and it's on you now to push it out of the way and say, I don't care. And I guess for our agents that are listening to this, I know others are too, but for our agents, like that's our approach because we believe in what we're actually bringing to the table.
Well, all I can say is, having been an agent now 42 years, that is the piece that will help both buyers and sellers feel confident in their decisions. They want you to help them make a decision.
A professional.
They do. And when you can show them that, it will, I'm just saying, I just see it time and time again. It's one thing to tell them something, it's a whole nother thing to show them. And if you can show buyers why there's a big cost of waiting, and if you can show sellers why it's important to get a home inspection now and get it priced right from the get-go, it really is our job. And yet at the same time, we have created these materials for you. They're ready to go.
Yep.
You just have to take them and run with them.
So over the next 30 days, like we're not going to be bringing new content to our agents. Really.
No.
It's going to be more of this because like we've always said, people need to be reminded more than they need to be instructed. And so we're going to just keep harping on these things throughout the remainder of the summer and keep really urging people just to lean in. So go print these documents off. Laminate them if you have to. Get them in front. Go mess with the cost of waiting calculator. Every buyer in your pipeline. Go run the scenario. Get your seller reports on BrokerBot. Create that time savings in your business so you can go out and create more business, right? And I think if agents will do that, if they'll make a commitment to those few things, it's going to have a positive impact on their business.
A hugely positive impact. And not only that, not only a positive impact on everybody's wallet, but also the stress level. I've just never seen it so high. It can seriously bring down everyone's stress level. It was interesting. You and I were in a room last week talking to some of our business partners, and one of them said, I used to have the seller do home inspections, and they had just gotten away from it. And all of us got away from a lot of things in 2021, 2022, right? We didn't have to do any of that because things were selling like within 24 hours. Now it's 80 some days. Yep. So it's kind of like you said, we need to remind them more than we need to tell them anything. If an agent has been in the business for at least 5 years, they're like, oh yeah, I used to do that.
Yep.
So, and just showing the seller why it's important, and also making sure they understand, yes, a buyer's still going to get their own inspection, and they should. And could some additional things come up? Yes. But let's not get totally blindsided. Let's see kind of what we've got right now, using good home inspectors that we all partner with all the time and we know are good.
Right. So I think I want to land the plane with this because it's the first time that we've ever done something like this. It's the first time KW International's ever offered this, but every August we have one of two national conferences. Right, we've got Family Reunion that happens in February, and every August we've got Mega Camp. And Mega Agent Camp is all about hearing the top agents in the country and how they think and implement in the business. Right. And for the first time ever, Austin is going to be live streaming this, and we are going to be taking advantage of that in our offices. Do you want to tell the agents a little bit about that and why you're so excited about it?
I'm excited about it because this has been a tough summer for a lot of agents, and maybe they don't have the extra $3,000 or $4,000 to spend on airline tickets, hotel, food, and the cost of the ticket for Mega Camp, I think, is like $1,100. Yeah. So they're offering it to us as a brokerage where we can purchase that online stream, that live stream, where we can all get together. Here's what I love about it. I don't love the 6 a.m. Time, but what I love about it is when they're taking a break for lunch for a couple hours, it will allow us to mastermind around what we heard earlier that morning and about how we can actually put things into, we could actually execute on them. And so we are bringing in our top agents so that they can they can hear this and mastermind with the rest of the agents in our office. So a rising tide floats all boats. And we actually have some of our ALC members and our top agents leading some of these groups, which I think is a massive, they don't just stop and go to lunch and spill their guts with you every day of the week. So to have them leading these masterminds and helping you think through what you just heard and how could you implement it, whether you're a solo agent or on a team or a rainmaker, I think is so valuable. And they've never done it before. They've never live streamed Mega Agent Camp before. And they're doing the entire thing. The other thing I love about 6 a.m. is Gary Keller will be the first up sharing the state of the market. Yep. And again, there's usually about 60 slides, and there's 4 or 5 of them that are usually quite compelling to use in both a listing presentation and a buyer presentation. So, and hearing him explain those, I think, is also incredibly valuable. So for me, it's that I do think it's cost prohibitive for some people this summer who all of us have struggled. Mm-hmm. So I think it's that your opportunity for free, because the Market Center is picking up the tab, to come and have that same education as everyone who's actually physically there. But, school's starting and we know you have responsibilities. And so I just think it couldn't come at a better time.
So Access has invested money to help agents view and take advantage of everything that Mega Camp has to offer.
Right.
We're going to be doing it in 5 locations, Wasilla, Alaska, in case anyone wants to take a jaunt.
That's 5 a.m.
5 a.m. exactly. We've got Sierra Vista, Tucson, High Street for our Phoenix Scottsdale agents, and up in Prescott as well.
Right.
And at those 5 viewing parties that start on at 6 a.m., as you mentioned, on August 18th, we'll watch these segments and then we'll break with leadership and ALC to mastermind.
Right.
And so we both want so many of our agents to take advantage of this. Like, yes, it's early. Yes, you might have to jet out to bring the kids to school. But make the commitment. Make the commitment. August 18th and 19th. You'll see it in all of our newsletters. You'll see it in the show notes, in the podcast, all of those things. But jump on it. It's free. It's a free opportunity to collaborate with the top agents in your offices.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to all the ideas and executable systems that come out of it that will make us all better.
And you'll be up at 5.
I will be up at 5 because I'm going to lead the group in Alaska. Yes. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Very good. And I'll be holding down the fort in San Antonio with I think we've got about a dozen across our offices, agents that will be out there. So if you are making the trip to San Antonio, we'll have a great time of value. But the entire team here will be locked and loaded, ready to bring value.